So today, Tuesday, February 21st, marked the first day that NFL teams can place a franchise tag on their respective players. Now, before I get into kind of the bits of this video, I want to kind of explain to everybody what a franchise tag is because we're kind of in franchise tag season now. Now, the franchise tag is put on a player when a team wants to retain a certain player. However, they are not able to come into any kind of a contract agreement. So a franchise tag basically gets put on them. It's non-negotiable. It's just there, and the player and the team actually gets the rights to have that player for another year. Now, the deal is basically a 1-year deal, which is the average of the top 5 players at their respective position. So it's generally a pretty high deal, and the number is completely off of right against the cap. So if it's a $12 million franchise tag, the entire amount of money goes straight against the cap. So there's no cap savings or anything when it comes to that. Now, the deadline to place this franchise tag on a player is March 7th, which is actually 2 weeks from today. So you're going to start to see some of these filter in over the course of the next week, I would think. And teams are allowed 1 franchise tag per team. So a team can't go out there and give 3 different players a franchise tag. It's only given to 1 player. So the Jags have some decisions to make. Now, there are decisions like players to cut. Like some obvious players to cut are Shaquille Griffin and Roy Robertson Harris. There's a lot of cap savings when it comes to cutting those guys. There's also some restructures that could take place, like maybe lower Christian Kirk's cap number, and also maybe Brandon Sheriff is another guy that could get it. And there might be some decisions on Josh Allen and Calvin Ridley are both playing on their 5th-year option, and that's another number that goes directly off the cap. And I know a lot of GMs don't really like that because when they reduce cap numbers, it just gives them a lot more flexibility. But of course, they have to have the owner that's willing to shell out the money up front and front-loaded and contract guarantees. And luckily, Shad Khan has been willing to do that in the past. And there's also impending free agents that we have to think about. And the 2 most notable impending free agents for the Jaguars are Evan Engram, tight end, and also right tackle Jawan Taylor. Now, Evan Ingram's name is floating around a lot more lately around Twitter circles. And one of them was because literally yesterday he was on Sirius NFL Radio on the XM side. Sirius XM Radio is what it's called. And, he basically quoted that there's mutual interest for him to come back when it comes to him wanting to be a Jaguar and the Jaguars wanting to bring him back. So I'll contain some clippets from that interview.
This is my second time really going through the free agency thing. Last year, I was definitely more bouncing off the walls, trying to find out everything, trying to get every bit of piece of information, and was a little bit stressing myself out. So this year, I'm definitely kicking back, letting everything kind of play out. I have a great team in my corner. My agent, Mike McCartney, and with Vayner Sports, they're a great group, and I'm really excited for them to get to work for me. And the conversations we had are very promising. He has a great relationship with the Jags, so hopefully something gets done. And I think, it's mutual. We haven't had too many conversations yet, but the interest is there on both sides for me to come back, and obviously I would love to come back as well. But like you said, it's a business, and I definitely felt like, I put a lot of great things on film. I had a lot of great results this year, and I was a big part of helping my team win. So when you do that at the pass catcher position, you have a lot of highlight plays, and, you do something special with the football. Those guys get taken care of financially wise. So that's something that's been a big goal of mine my entire career. And now we're here. And so definitely got a lot of faith in God, too, for him just kind of, take everything and, put it on the way that he wants it for me and, not the way I want it for myself. So I'm really at peace with everything. And definitely, what will happen is supposed to happen.
There is some speculation that if they can't get a deal done with you, they'll use the franchise tag. Again, out of your control. All players react to that differently. How would you feel if they did use the franchise tag on you?
It's a hypothetical, so it could happen, it could not. But, if that happens, I think that'll be a placeholder, to get something done. I think that's just kind of just the way I feel about it. And if it does come to that, there'll be conversations had with my team and we'll move forward from there. But If that does happen, I'm going to be blessed either way. And we'll figure something out long term that can, both sides will be happy with.
Now, today of all days, the Jaguars put out an appreciation post for Evan Engram. And look, this was no accident. When you're someone like me and you create content, you want as many clicks as possible. The Jaguars social media team are no dummies. And they put out a tweet, just a random Evan Engram appreciation tweet on the first day that franchise tags are allowed to be put down. And since it got put up, I think it got put up 5 hours ago. And last I checked, it was like 1.6 million impressions, which is way more than any Jaguars post gets. And when Evan Engram saw that, he quote tweeted it and said, "My heart dropped. I thought this was the announcement." So he thought that whether announcement was that he got a franchise tag or he's going to come back on a new deal. What's funny is he mentions the announcement. So I don't know if there's something brewing right now that he didn't state in the NFL XM radio interview or kind of what's going on there. But in the radio, it felt like he was confident that he was going to get another deal. I mean, it really did. That's my thoughts that I came away from that with. And then even Christian Kirk commented on Evan Ingram's post saying, quote, "You not going anywhere, my boy." So yeah, there's interest for Evan Engram to come back also amongst his teammates. And look, the Evan Engram to Jacksonville experiment was a major success. We don't say that about many. Just over the course of the Jaguars' history, there's not many things where you say, boom, this guy to Jacksonville was a huge success. But Evan Engram to Jacksonville was, man, 73 receptions last year for 766 yards, also 4 touchdowns. The 73 receptions and 766 receiving yards by Evan Engram was a career high for him. And he was also 4th in tight ends in the NFL this year in receiving yards. And he also set a franchise record for a tight end in a single season for the Jaguars when it comes to his reception numbers and receiving numbers. And look, I've said for so long, the tight end position is a curse for the Jaguars, whether it be getting a tight end when it comes to the Jaguars having a tight end that's actually good. I mean, we've wasted a lot of resources on tight ends and it just hasn't come into fruition. And also on a defensive side, I feel like the whole entire Jaguars existence, we've never been able to stop tight ends. It's just always been the Achilles heel of the Jaguars. No matter how good our defense is, we can't guard the tight end. And it's really, really weird if I'm being honest, because there are times it's just weird that the entire franchise's history, you just can't stop them. But it is what it is. Now, it feels like we finally got a guy in Evan Engram. So, I mean, I hope the Jaguars, I think at the very least he gets a franchise tag, because look, with him, he not only was he good on the field, but he's also really good off of the field, really well liked by teammates. I feel like he was a really, really good culture fit for the Jaguars. He came in here with a head on his shoulder on that 1-year prove-it deal, hoping to be able to get a bigger deal. And look, he had a lot of success this year. Went to the playoffs with him. He had a lot of yards, played really well during the playoffs, and it was awesome to have him. Now, the kind of deal that I see getting done, I could see a 3-year deal for $35 to $40 million with a bunch of incentives kind of laid in there. It's just I get the feeling that's going to be a 3-year deal, but it's almost impossible to really gauge this stuff. I have no idea what kind of numbers he's going to get. Usually you put your numbers here, and usually they wind up getting that much. It's just you always kind of understate it. But I feel like 3-year, $35 to $40 million is going to ultimately be for him. Now, if he does get the franchise tag this year for tight ends, it's $11.3 million straight off the cap. So yeah, that's, we'll see. I mean, and look, he even said on the radio, I mean, like that he doesn't seem like he'd be too unhappy with the franchise tag, but I don't know if he's saying that because he knows a new deal is going to come into play or what. But yeah, that's, that was an interesting tidbit. But interesting stuff from the Jaguars today. Of course, Jaguars news is slow right now, but we're ramping up into really free agency. And at any point, look, tonight, tomorrow morning, Thursday, whenever, I mean, at any point we can get the news that an extension for either Evan Engram or even Juwan Taylor are in play. I would love for the Jaguars to find a way to keep each of these players. I just, I'm not in the business where I want to let good players walk from the Jaguars. And Evan Engram was by far the best tight end for us. I mean, our second best tight end did not have very good numbers. And, with Jawan Taylor, I want to find a way to keep him because I don't want to let our best offensive lineman just walk. I'm not a salary cap expert. I'm just a fan that loves my Jaguars players, okay? So we'll see what happens, man. Let me know what you guys think. Go Jags.